It's time for us to create the second test that's going to create a gist. For this, we need to have an authorization token. That's where we're going to use the token that we created earlier. We're going to use this token in multiple tests. I'm going to create it as the final constant for this class itself. So final string token equals this here. So we're going to paste it here. We're going to create another test here. Public void test create gist. We're going to have same spec builder from above. We simply copy this here, but we're going to add one new step here. We're going to add a header. The header is going to be authorization, and it's going to have as bearer the token. That's this dot token. So now this spec that we create, it has the authorization header in it, and with that you'll be able to create, edit, and delete gists. Let's look at the specification itself, how you can create a gist. That's number 9 in this list. We are going to create a post request to /gists. We are going to give a payload. The payload is going to have a description, a fact whether it's public or not, and all the file objects. Every file object in it is going to have a content with a string. So now an example has been given to us here in the specification, and based on this we're going to create a new JSON payload. Let's create a string here which is going to be the payload, and we're going to start it with the curly braces. As we saw here, first we need the description. We create a description. Let's say description is hello gists. Now the next thing that we need to add is whether it's public or not. We want to create a public gist here, and now we're going to create a file object in it. Now just to make it easy for us to read things, we're going to put this on the new line and another new line here. Now here we're going to create this object called files. We're going to say files. You need to have these backslashes here so that you can say ignore that first character after it, the overriding character. In this files we're going to create another curly brace object, so we can go to the next line here, and in this we're going to say give it the first file. Let's say first file, and the first file will be another object inside, and that's going to be, we'll have content. This is a test gist file. If we start counting, we have 1, 2, 3 open braces, and we have 3 closing braces. This is the one for describing the file. This is the one for the whole files object, and this one encapsulates the whole payload. If we go up, we're just going to copy this whole section down below, and we're going to modify certain things. Now our request spec is the new request spec that we built here, which has the header for authorization. Instead of get, we are going to do a post. This part of the URL remains the same because that's our base URL. And what does our API specification tell us here? /gists is the endpoint to call. So we're going to change that. And now we're going to add this payload to the body object. So say dot body, and it's going to take this payload here. The one last thing that we need to change is the status code. As we see in the API specification, the status code for a create gist is 201. So we make that last change in our test. Our test is now ready, and we're going to run this test. and our test has passed. And if we go and refresh our list of gists here, we have this gist created, test file from test API. This is a test gist file from test API test. So our test has passed, and we're going to move on to the next test in the next part of this tutorial.